KBLA Talk 1580 and conducted by Viteris, the black voters surveyed were highly enthusiastic about the March 2024 primary. The race for Los Angeles District Attorney is being hotly contested. Incumbent DA George Gascon's efforts to implement progressive criminal justice reforms have generated pushback from within his own office, the broader law enforcement community, and some in the general public. He was the subject of at least 2 failed attempts to qualify recalls. The concerns about crime are reflected in the polling results of black voters. Nearly 1 in 4 have been victims of violent crime or have someone close to them who has been a victim. 1 in 5 black voters have personally been victims of property crime in the last 2 years. A majority of respondents feel less safe than they did a year or 2 ago, but they reject the notion that criminal justice reform has gone too far. This year, black voters will be looking for candidates who speak to the complexity of the issues as opposed to a one-size-fits-all approach. Nearly half of black voters have an unfavorable view of DA Gascon, but his challengers are largely unknown. Nearly half of the black voters are also undecided, which means there's a clear opportunity for candidates to connect with black voters. Our poll makes 3 things abundantly clear. Black voters matter. Black voters are closely following this race, and the candidates for DA have a lot of work to do. KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to the mobilization and use of the franchise to empower our audience to identify and pursue their interests in advancing equity, inclusive representation, and multiracial solidarity. For KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte. We welcome your feedback.
Hey, so I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes 2 to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light, see the light.
Do you think men are being taught to be weak right now?
Yes, definitely. They're being enticed toward that in every way.
Tell me more.
And punished for not doing it. Well, they're enticed towards it by the insistence, for example, that masculinity itself is toxic to its core, a manifestation of patriarchal oppression, that male ambition is nothing but a manifestation of the force of tyrannical power. It's part of this belief that's derived from this unholy nexus of agreement between the postmodernists and the meta-Marxists, that the only story is one of power, and men wield the power, and therefore all masculine virtue is identical to the striving for power, and that's immoral in its essence. Basically, the most pathological brandishers of that doctrine presume that male virtue is indistinguishable from malevolence. And so the best you can do if you're a man is to castrate yourself.
Oh, God.
It's not even symbolic.
Whoa, Jordan Peterson, man, he takes no prisoners. But the question is, why did I play that clip? Well, how does that clip line up with tonight's topic? We got a heavy topic, man. And once again, I want to shout out the listeners. You guys are just inundating me with topic after topic after topic, and they're all really good, and I love unpacking them and dissecting them. How that clip fits into tonight's topic is going to be quite interesting. Basically, Jordan Peterson is saying that men are being set up for codependence because they can't be real men. Because real masculinity, or authentic masculinity, or masculinity in its truest sense, in this society is dubbed or deemed toxic. So men have to be something other than they are. Now, if you know anything about spirituality, there's something called divine masculine versus divine feminine. Now, these are the polar opposites of the principles, the feminine principle and the masculine principle. Now, when we talk about the divine aspects, we're talking about them in their proper position. Now, when you throw society in, now society can produce a toxic form of masculinity, but it can also produce a toxic form of femininity. Okay? So we have to be aware, or we have to make some clear distinctions instead of just creating these blanket licenses, right? Where we just say, oh, this is what that means. Well, in context of what, right? A divine feminine needs a divine masculine. They complement each other, right? So men in this society have not been given the opportunity to really cultivate divine masculinity. Now, when you're dealing with divine masculinity, what's interesting about that is the divine masculine will find the balance within himself because he understands that he's not all masculine. Oh, I know the men out there said, "Oh, Zoe done he done lost me." Well, within the woman there is a masculine. Within the masculine there is a feminine. This is the principle of yin and yang, right? So the divine masculine seeks to balance himself so that he may understand the divine feminine and vice versa, right? But when you live in a society such as ours, this is why I mention this quote all the time, the great Krishnamurti. It is no measure of health to be fully integrated into a sick society. Because in a sick society, masculinity can become toxic, but so can femininity, right? And the way masculinity is set up in this society, it's dominate, it's power, it's control, it's aggression, right? So with that being said, sure, there can be an imbalance, but it also produces an imbalance in the woman, right? Because people think women can't dominate, right? They think women can't, have a masculine side, and then they get surprised when women do Machiavellian things, right? So what's interesting is tonight's topic, and I believe that this disorder is a byproduct of the type of society in which we live. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard it framed this way. And I don't know if it's a technical clinical term, but it is out there and it is used by many clinicians. It's called SLDD. Now, SLDD has a more common term. But when I saw this today, I said, oh, wow, this is the topic, man. SLDD, i.e., self-love deficit disorder. Self-love deficit disorder. Now, if you go back to my distinction between the divine masculine, divine feminine, in this toxic society, this society produces a toxic variant of masculinity and femininity. So that variant creates what I believe to be self-love deficit disorder, i.e., codependency. Because if you can't accept your full self, if you can't accept your full self as a divine masculine or as a masculine or as a feminine, right, then there's a need to get what you've suppressed within from another, from an external source. Self-love disorder, a deeper look at codependency. Oh, you know I got questions. The number to dial, 1-800-920-1580. Please understand, non-judgmental space. Non-judgmental space. I need your participation. I want to hear from Los Angeles. I want to hear from New York. I want to hear from Seattle. I want to hear from San Francisco. I want to hear from Florida. I want to hear from Georgia. I want to hear from Kentucky. I want to hear from Tennessee. I want to hear from Mississippi. I want to hear from everybody across the nation because this is a very serious conversation and I think we should have it. Question: are you among these people who tend to neglect their own needs in order to take care of their loved ones? 1-800-920-1580. How is self-love different from narcissism? 1-800-920-1580. What are the symptoms of self-love deficit disorder? 1-800-920-1580. Is the narcissist and the codependent soulmates? Oh, 1-800-920-1580. Let me read it again. Is the narcissist and the codependent, are they soulmates? True or false? Self-love means holding positive and realistic views of yourself as an individual, rather than measuring your worth by comparing yourself to others or viewing yourself through the lens of past mistakes. I do it all the time. 1-800-920-1580. Get to your phone lines. Get ready. How do you overcome self-love deficit disorder? What is SLD personality? This is interesting. 1-800-920-1580. Get to your phone lines. I want to talk to you about this. This is about to be very interesting tonight. Why am I struggling with cultivating and developing self-love? Is self-love a form of narcissism? How does self-love deficit disorder manifest in interpersonal relationships? What role does childhood upbringing play in the development of self-love deficit disorder, i.e. codependency? Can self-love deficit disorder be inherited? Can you inherit this? Or is it solely a learned behavior? How does one society, see? It is no measure of health to be fully integrated into a sick society. How does society's emphasis on external validation contribute to self-love deficit disorder? Now that question is really the question that sparked my initial setup when I talked about divine feminine, divine masculine. The divine feminine is aware of the masculine within herself. The divine masculine is aware of the divine feminine within himself. He balances his masculine with his feminine. She balances her feminine with her masculine. They come together and they have this harmonious connection. Heavy stuff tonight. In what ways does self-love deficit disorder, i.e. codependency, intersect with mental health disorders such as depression and anxiety? Is self-love deficit disorder more prevalent in certain cultures or societal structures? What are some effective therapeutic practices and approaches for treating self-love deficit disorder, i.e. codependency? Are you codependent? What happened in your childhood that caused codependency to rear its ugly head within your soul? Listen, we've got a lot of ground to cover and not that much time to do it in. I need to hear from y'all. The number to dial, 1-800-920-1580. Next on the VOR.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Climate is king.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough.
It's time to represent your community in the 2024 presidential primary election. When you vote, you get to decide what is best for you, your neighborhood, and your family. Use your power. Make a plan to vote today. Visit plan.lavote.gov. That's plan.lavote.gov to get everything you need to vote in the March 5th presidential primary election. Brought to you by the Los Angeles County Registrar.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Y'all pretty ladies around the world got a weird thing to show you.
what's the problem? People find themselves chronically in unhealthy, unbalanced relationships where they give the majority of love, respect, and care only to receive nothing in return. Despite the pain, they stay in this unhappy, toxic dance. Why? Because they're afraid of feeling the intense shame and pathological loneliness that would arise if they left. What is it? Often, this has been called codependency. However, a more appropriate phrase is self-love deficit disorder, or SLDD. Why? As you can see on this SLDD diagram, codependency is a mere symptom of not loving oneself. Codependency is not what needs to be treated. Rather, the root cause needs to be addressed. It all begins with attachment trauma, the root cause. This often occurs when a child is raised by a narcissistic parent who does not allow them to feel loved, respected, cared for, and safe. Love is merely conditional and judgmental. This trauma is then responsible for causing core shame. Core shame is a distorted belief of being fundamentally bad or flawed. Such toxic shame reduces a person to feeling only good when they take care of others, while ignoring themselves. Loving someone while being invisible creates pathological loneliness, deep, bone-aching emotional pain. This is the excruciating SLDD addiction withdrawal pain that reduces one to feeling invisible, worthless, and unlovable. The pain of it is simply unbearable. Hence, the person with SLDD is uniquely prone to SLDD addiction, which is the desperate need of a relationship that will make the lonely pain go away. The pathologically narcissistic romantic interest becomes...
Wait a minute! Is he saying codependency is a drug? We can become addicted to being codependent? 1-800-920-1580 in the intricate dance of human emotions and relationships. This concept of self-love deficit disorder, or SLDD, and its profound connection to codependency unveil a complex web of psychological, social, and philosophical implications. On tonight's topic, on this show, we're going to try to embark on a multifaceted journey to delve deep into the nuance of SLDD and codependency. We're going to explore the impact on identity, self-esteem, relationships, societal norms, and personal growth. Through a philosophically and psychologically and socially insightful lens, we seek to unravel the layers of self-love deficit disorder and its profound implications on human existence. You know what's interesting? Have you guys not recognized that it all goes back to that primary caregiver? This is where John Bowlby's attachment theory has had such a foothold, right, in the clinical world of diagnosing the human behavior, right? John Bowlby, man, attachment style. And now, in that particular field, what they're starting to recognize is that that particular field and its founders are primarily white. And now we're starting to question some of the concepts and frameworks that they've put together, and now a lot of melanated folk are coming with some new radical ideas. Namely, I'm not going to put myself in it, but in 2019, I wrote a book called The Holographic Relationship. And now, everybody, and I'm not the first person to talk about generational curses. I'm not the first person to talk about that. But with this new science that came out, the science talking about that we could potentially be living in a simulation, right? And it started to bring up holography, right? The holographic reality or universe, right? We are not really living in a real place. We're living in a three-dimensional projection from a two-dimensional source. And I said, well, if the reality in which we live in is holographic, is that saying this is a test ground for real life? Well, I think Jesus said that too, didn't he? He said, this ain't the real world. The next place is the real world. Didn't he say something? Something like, where my Bible thumpers at? I need that verse. What did Jesus say about this world and the next world? I said, oh, okay, it's all starting to come together. You say, what does that have to do with self-love deficit disorder? Because we are modeling broken people trying to grow up and have whole relationships with broken programs. Right? Broken programs. You got your program for relating from a work in progress. And that program is holographic, regardless of the Jungian mask you wear. It's holographic. What does holographic mean? It means whole writing. The whole story is written, inscribed throughout your being. It's operating in the subconscious. You're not even aware that you're broken when you step into the relationship. We're talking about codependency, right? We have been conditioned to look for answers and validation and approval and acceptance from outside. And we're really going to tear this thing down tonight. When I come forward, I'm going to the phone lines and I'm going to break this down even further.
Tell me what's the word, a word up. Everybody say, when you hear the call, you've got to get it underway. Ow!
He's on fire tonight. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The mayor of Atlanta is running for a second term. Andre Dickens announced his re-election campaign to reporters, saying he loves being the mayor of Atlanta and has wanted the job since he was 16 years old. Dickens, who is black, first became mayor back in 2021, defeating Felicia Moore with more than 60% of the vote. Dickens says he's up for the challenge of re-election and hopes to continue his goals of bringing more affordable housing to the homeless in Atlanta. The mayoral election is in 2025. Atlanta voters will have a chance to decide on whether or not to increase a 1-cent sales tax this spring. The city council voted to put the measure on the ballot in May, which would provide more money for water and sewer improvements across the city. Former Mayor Shirley Franklin, who is black, first led the way on the penny tax for water 2 decades ago. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Why settle for ordinary when you can have extraordinary hair? Visit your local SoCal FS Cut and Color Salon today and let their team of expert stylists pamper you with affordable luxury. Get a free shampoo with every cut. Book your appointment today at fantasticsams.com.
I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte with the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial. In a public opinion survey commissioned by KBLA Talk 1580 and conducted by Vitterus, the black voters surveyed were highly enthusiastic about the March 2024 primary. The race for Los Angeles District Attorney is being hotly contested. Incumbent DA George Gascon's efforts to implement progressive criminal justice reforms have generated pushback from within his own office, the broader law enforcement community, and some in the general public. He was the subject of at least 2 failed attempts to qualify recalls. The concerns about crime are reflected in the polling results of black voters. Nearly 1 in 4 have been victims of violent crime or have someone close to them who has been a victim. 1 in 5 black voters have personally been victims of property crime in the last 2 years. A majority of respondents feel less safe than they did a year or 2 ago, but they reject the notion that criminal justice reform has gone too far. This year, black voters will be looking for candidates who speak to the complexity of the issues as opposed to a one-size-fits-all approach. Nearly half of black voters have an unfavorable view of DA Gascon, but his challengers are largely unknown. Nearly half of the black voters are also undecided, which means there's a clear opportunity for candidates to connect with black voters. Our poll makes 3 things abundantly clear. Black voters matter. Black voters are closely following this race, and the candidates for DA have a lot of work to do. KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to the mobilization and use of the franchise to empower our audience to identify and pursue their interests in advancing equity, inclusive representation, and multiracial solidarity. For KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Dr. Nicordoli Corte. We welcome your feedback.
If your Medi-Cal is ending, Cover California is here to help. Cover California is a service from the state that helps you get affordable health insurance. In many cases, at no cost to you, just like with Medi-Cal. We have quality health plans and will help you every step of the way to get the one that works for you and your family. So, if you're no longer eligible for Medi-Cal, check out Cover California. We'll keep you covered. Learn more at coveredca.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580, where climate is king. Climate is king.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Just had a fight with my woman over something trivial told. We rarely have confrontation, and if the I said really was bold, I think she get it from my mama. Her bitterness passed down from old. When I'm calling out her trauma, she too defensive to listen. I'll call so. Looking at, I got problems. You got the type of advice that I need. I couldn't get through on the mention series. Dana was hogging up the time that I need. Between working or being so clingy, what's the time zone difference? Don't make it more easy. Oh, so I figured I'd call in early, turn my life down, mercy. I got through. You tuned in, yeah. Voice of Reason is the show. Yeah. Voice of Reason is the show. So just lay back your mind. Someday, everybody tuning in. soul. Cause he is amazing, yeah.
So let's talk about the origins of codependency, because it's developed out of my 23 years work in psychotherapy and my own personal work, and highly influenced by the book by Alice Miller, The Drama of the Gifted Child. Codependency is rooted in early childhood. A codependent comes from a family in which there was abuse, neglect, extreme narcissism, physical illnesses, trauma. This child grew up in a family where there was not stability, and their parents or main caretaker was not healthy or was unable to be.
Pause it. I have to stop. He says, because people will get it twisted right there. It says codependents grew up in a household where there was not stability. Let's stop that. See, again, this is where society comes in. You think if both your parents got a job and the bills are paid and you got the latest backpack and lunchbox set, that you came from a healthy family. Remember how he started it. He said from a narcissistic parent or some other maladaptive attachment style or some other psychological issue. So don't get it twisted. Just because the bills were paid and the lights was on and you had internet when it first came out and you had cable, you had On TV, or you remember On TV? Huh? You remember that? Yeah, right. You had all of the stuff. You had Atari. Don't think that that's okay. We was healthy. Just because you had things doesn't necessarily mean you were in a healthy environment. Okay, Andy, play it.
Extreme narcissism, physical illnesses, trauma. This child grew up in a family where there was not stability, and their parents or main caretaker was not healthy or was unable to be there for them. EMMs create codependent children. So if we look at the etiology of a codependent, we will always trace it back that one of their parents or both of their parents were EMM of some sort, whether it was borderline, narcissist, antisocial, or alcoholic, drug addicted, porn addicted. We will talk a little bit later about the difference between an addiction and narcissism, and I'll point to the similarities and differences. But the codependent child to be was parented by an EMM. The parent, the main parent, the EMM, neglected the child's basic needs. This EMM parent had a child either on purpose or by accident because they wanted to fulfill a fantasy. They wanted to create a life and nurture a life that was different from the life that they experienced. They wanted to be a nurturer, a giver of life, a loving, caring parent because they themselves did not experience it. These very damaged parents see their child as a way to heal their own wounds, to right the wrongs of their childhood, and to love the child like they never were loved. The problem is the EMM is inherently damaged. They have serious personality disorders or psychological trauma, unresolved trauma, and they really can't ever go beyond their own needs in the raising of this child. The EMMs neglect or abuse a child, and this is an important factor, and this will later describe the difference of why a child becomes a codependent or why a child becomes a narcissist. The EMM parent neglects the child that does not conform to their needs. The child who is going to be a codependent learns early on, sometimes as early as infancy, to learn how to make their parent happy, whether it's by cooing and smiling, not crying so much. The future codependent adapts by learning to please. Pleased EMMs want to care for their children. Pleased EMMs feel competent, they feel whole, and they feel motivated to love their child. Because that child, that beautiful, loving child that never cries, that always smiles, that you can put into bed, that will go to sleep on time, makes them feel good. And so they get to act out their fantasy of being this parent. What the parent doesn't understand, and will never understand because of their narcissism, is that this love that they say they have for their child is conditional love. And the child, instinctively, before he is consciously able to understand his environment, knows that if he is a pleasing child, an agreeable child, a smiley, happy child, he will get from his mom what he needs. And so really the love that this child, this future codependent, gets is conditional love. Successful adaptation for this potential future codependent child requires the child to learn the conditions of his...
Listen, man. Yo, this is real stuff happening. And these types of parents are creating dismissive avoidance. They're creating maladaptive attachment styles. They're creating codependence. They're creating anxious, preoccupied, attached. Right? Anxious, preoccupied attachment styles. They're creating the maladaptive attachment styles. Back to my point about it being a part of your whole story. Holographic. Somebody in the chat room gave me the Bible verse, Hebrews 13:14. So let us go out to him, outside the camp, and bear the disgrace he bore. For this world is not our permanent home. We are looking forward to a home yet to come. Therefore, let us offer through Jesus a continual sacrifice of praise to God, proclaiming our allegiance to his name. Now, I'm not trying to be religious, but if you take that verse in context of the holographic principle, we live in a simulation. This is not our permanent home. Maybe relationship as a highly reflective classroom. Maybe Earth is the campus. Maybe the version of love you get here is to prepare you for a real love. But you got to prove that you're worthy by going through something. See, everybody wants something easy. Everybody wanted to come easy. Everybody a relationship shouldn't be that hard. I should be able to have what I want. Listen, you came here, and I know your spiritual memory is suffering from amnesia right now, but you came here with a purpose to be matured spiritually. How can you do that without going through Shaka Khan's fire? The fire of disappointment. The fire of learning what your maladaptive attachment style is. The fire of rewriting your attachment style, shifting it back to secure. Do you understand? Sometimes you got to go through the fire and understand, you know what, I'm codependent. How can I pick up the pen of self-authorship and rewrite my personal narrative? Huh? How can I do that? Maybe that is the purpose of relationships. It's not Netflix and chill. You better heal yourself before you get pregnant. Do you hear what the man already laid down? Codependency is coming from early childhood trauma, early childhood experiences. You want to get better, you got to break up with your mama. You want to get better, you got to break up with the lessons she taught. She did the best she could, but you are a new version of your ancestors. Oh, when I come forward, I'm going to the phone lines. Let's get it!
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
LADWP is proud to partner with KBLA to share with you how to start the new year without bill worries. We're here to help if you're behind on your bill or need help staying current. Sign up anytime online for Level Pay to set predictable monthly payments throughout the year, including for past due amounts. You can also check out the special extended pay arrangements of up to 48 months to help pay down your bill. If you're a senior or income qualified, you may be eligible for Easy Save to receive discounts and also qualify for free and discounted energy and water saving devices. You can get up to $15,000 for past due water and or sewer bills and up to $3,000 for electric bills. But you gotta act fast. Funding is limited. You can reduce your past due bills and kick off the year right, because here at LADWP, we're here to help. Visit ladwp.com/cares today and find out more.
City of Los Angeles tenants, get informed today about your eviction rights. Take immediate action if you receive an eviction notice from the court. You have 5 days to respond to an eviction notice or unlawful detainer. Don't self-evict. And you can't be evicted for non-payment of rent unless you owe more than the fair market rent for a unit your size. Learn more eviction information such as at-fault and no-fault evictions at housing.lacity.org. Be informed, be protected, be at home.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chucha's opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chucha's Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
My playlist is my co-host. And let me tell you right now, every song tonight is cameo. You know why? Because I said, I got to make it funky. I got to make it stink up in here. You know, when we start revealing ourselves, it's going to stink. I said, we got to play the stank tonight. Because you got to reveal yourself when I bring you on there, okay? When I bring you on air, you got to reveal. You can't heal what you haven't revealed, right? So many people are so adept, so adroit, so keen at concealing. But there's no healing in concealing. There's only healing in revealing. And many people don't want to reveal. Do you understand? I revealed my childhood. I revealed my trauma. I reveal my mistakes in relationships. I reveal my story night in and night out. But we want to have a healthy relationship, right? We want to have a real relationship, but you don't want to reveal the truth of what makes you, listen, what makes you weak. Don't you know in the revelation of your weakness, you transmute it into strength? But we are set up in such a way in this society that all we got is masks. All we got is fronts. All we got is pretense, performance. We can't show nobody the real us. And when we do, the sense of guilt is rising. Are they going to judge me? Are they going to criticize me for the truth of who I am? Because I don't really like me. So why would they? Do you understand what I'm saying? This is how codependency is manifesting, right? You got a narcissistic parent. You got a neglectful parent. You got an abusive parent. You got a parent that is not attentive to your emotional needs. And then you try to do the best to take care of your own needs. And you don't even know how to do that. All you're doing is modeling the toxicity that is your caregiver. And then you grow up codependent, anxious, preoccupied, dismissive, avoidant. Oh, this is going to get deep. We got callers from all over the country. Who's been in here the longest? Sean, Oakland, California. Get in here.
Hey, brother. So a lot of things. I mean, you're hitting on some, there was only like 20 questions there. But I'm going to stick to this. Look, it's true. And I love your questions. And the show is so amazing. But I'm going to say this, as a man, in the masculine way, look, you are fragile, in my opinion. So I'm going to say it's my opinion. If you're worried about people attacking a man's masculinity. In my opinion, if you're worried about people canceling you or something as a man, my goodness, you have some things. You have some things to think about. You have some things to think about as a man to say, why am I so worried about that instead of just being a man and being that solid force, for my family, friends, anyone, and just not worrying about what other people's lives are about. And that's my 2 cents on that. And the other thing is, make sure to communicate to people, the best you can, that we accept everybody. We're not going to discriminate on people, right? I don't want to mess with people that always want to discriminate upon people and blame them for all the world's woes. How about no? How about you make it better? How about you make it better instead of blaming it on other people? You've never done that, Brother Zoe, but I'm just saying. So that's why I say what I say, and I'm saying, brothers, men, and you can be LGBTQ, all that stuff. I'm just saying, do not be in a way where you do not just live your life.
I got you, Sean. And guess what you just did, my friend?
Thanks, brother. I brought Oakland in the building.
Oaktown is in the building. If you want to bring your city and get them on the board, all you got to do is call me, 1-800-920-1580. That's 1-800-920-1580. I need to hear from Los Angeles. LA, I want to talk to you. Hey, Miami, get up in here. Hey, wait a minute, where is Texas? Dallas, Texas. I'm looking for Truemonger. Where is Mississippi? 1-800-920-1580. I want to talk to all my people. Get in here. Let's talk. We got Reggie from Austin, Texas. Reggie, what are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Man, I think the whole thing stems from abuse. It's a fallout of abuse, And, we try to keep everything behind locked doors. You always had this saying when we were a kid, what goes on in this house stays in this house. And the fact that we keep everything locked up in this house makes us really stunted in our growth. And, the fact that we're imbalanced, this whole SLDD is just imbalanced. It's imbalanced because of trauma we've gone through, imbalanced because of the abuse that we've suffered. And honestly, man, we're just trying to get it right. We're trying to feel what we feel and be authentic in a world that's fake. And that's the hardest thing to do, man. It should be easy, but we make it so difficult because we can't be ourselves and can't react authentically. It's like we have to play some role all the time. We have to wear some mask all the time. And you wear a mask for so long, you forget who you are. And it's sad, bro. I mean, it's the fact that you have people that are just victims of abuse, and they don't even know what real love is anymore. It's wild, man. I think the fact that we try to keep things behind closed doors is probably the root of the problem. You're a victim of society, but I think society has to come into every house, and it has to really see what we are, and it has to give the best of what we have to give. And the fact that this abuse and this imbalance just causes the world to suffer.
Wait, hold on, Reggie, because you really cooking, and I feel like there's even more. I feel like there's even more. Hold tight. When we come forward, Reggie from Austin, Texas is gonna keep the fire lit.
Flash and lightning. I thank heaven for the things that feels like candy. Straw swing. Taking my appetite, but it's alright.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The mayor of Atlanta